Hello whisky fans and welcome back for another Dram. Dram number 9, Dram fans. Dram fans. That sounds better than whisky fans. It's only taken me 3 years of doing this to figure out Dram fans. Good things come to those who wait, like whisky. So day number 9, 9th of December, door number 9. We've had some really good ones lately, I think. We've had a couple of worrying ones towards the start, mainly the Jura and the Tamnavulin. Everything else has been at least good. I think Glengoyne, Tomatin, good. Denny, good. Parkmore, Fettercairn and the Smoky Scot, brilliant. So let's see if we can get something good again today. Curious oakiness to that one. Calendar hasn't fallen apart yet. It does seem a bit sturdier. I think it's because it's smaller and more compact. Less space in it. Can almost stand on that. I'll outlast us all. Probably won't. That is very interesting. It's got a little bit of a herbal quality to it. Herbal, a little bit of a gin quality, as well as a very fresh and sweet maltiness. A little bit of a peach and stone fruits note. Quite salty, and I'm just trying to figure out if that's a little bit of smoke in there as well. It smells quite strong, which is good. Any well-made whiskey, you can never turn down extra ABV. It's always a good thing. And usually when I'm tasting whiskey, it's the palate that I try and use as a reference to try and guess what the ABV is. And I think that almost always works really well. So the fact that it seems quite strong on the nose possibly tells us that it's over 46. I would probably guess 46 to 48, similar strength to the Fettercairn that we had yesterday, which I think was 48.8. Yeah, 48.8 on that Fettercairn. Something curious about this one though. I think it's that fruitiness. It's got quite a tinned fruit in syrup note. Tinned peaches, maybe a little bit of pineapple. Sugary, syrupy fruitiness. And I think it has got a little bit of sour smokiness to it as well. I like that one quite a lot. But I'm a little bit unsure about the palate. I think that it is smoky, but it's a very subtle wood smoke quality. But it's odd because it's an acrid smokiness, a little bit like the acrid wood smoky notes that you get in like an Ardbeg 10. But it's not got the intensity that you normally get with those big, dirty, acrid, dirty, smoky whiskies. It's a bit delicate. So perhaps a peated cask finish. So like unpeated whiskey that's been shoved into a peated cask. Like I know Cotswolds Distillery do that. Obviously that's not what this is because this is a Scotch calendar. But Wolfburn as well, like a Wolfburn Northland, that was I think finished in peated quarter casks. Could be a Wolfburn because it's got that fruitiness, strong fruity maltiness. Probably bourbon casks with that dry, smoky element to it. But it's a smokiness that doesn't fully integrate with the malt, or it doesn't seem to. Lovely bright fruitiness. Quite creamy on the palate as well, creamy fruitiness when you actually get to taste it. But lots of tinned, juicy, sugary fruit, perhaps a little bit of mango, banana, pineapple. So very fruity. This one's a little bit of a conundrum. It's obviously a very well made, well presented whiskey. It's got a good ABV, it's got good body. Not quite sure about how well the peat, the smokiness integrates, and that palate. It doesn't quite follow up from the nose. It is very good though. Definitely unusual. And it does remind me quite a lot of Wolfburn Northland. Wolfburn is a very fruity distillate which occasionally, I think not always, but more often than not, has a smoky element to it. I think that's the thing that this reminds me of most, a Wolfburn Northland. This might be a little bit of a case of me suggesting things to myself, but it seems to have a little bit of a farmy cowshed note on the nose as well now. A little bit of a astringent grapefruit note on the palate. As for the finish, it's got that sugary fruitiness, the pineapple and the banana, and the grapefruit astringency fades into the finish. But the finish, you start to get that smoke raising its head a little bit more. The smoke really rounds everything off, which is good. Unusual, but good. So it's another unusual one. And it's given me a little bit of a problem for the leaderboard. It's top 3. Need another sniff. Not too much because I don't want to finish it all, because I might come back to that one later, perhaps when I'm checking that I'm happy with the leaderboard. Nectarines, sweet fruit on the nose. I almost want that peat to come through a bit more though. It's very close between this and the Smoky Scot. I think that the Smoky Scot is easier to love because it's got that really intense punch in the face peatiness, whereas this one that we've got today, you have to work a little bit harder to find that peatiness. It is there, but I wish it was a bit more. I hope this isn't a Wolfburn, because I don't want to put a Wolfburn second to a Smoky Scot cheap thing, but I'm going to put this in as number 2. I think this is a little bit better than the Fettercairn, not quite as good as the Smoky Scot, although the Smoky Scot is clearly a little bit, it's more of a cheaper whiskey, but it's a very enjoyable whiskey because it's got all that peat. So I think this is going to be a new number 2. So we've got another good one towards the middle of the calendar, which is great. So what have we got today? Bòcan, 12-year-old batch number 1 rum cask, single malt Scotch whiskey, and it is 46%. So I actually thought that tasted a little bit like it might have been a couple of percent more than 46, but it's not. So that's a sign of quality when it seems like it has more power than it actually has ABV. But Bòcan is obviously another Tomatin. So we've had one Tomatin already, and that is sitting about just below middle on the leaderboard so far. Bòcan is the peated stuff that they make at Tomatin. So this is, it's not no age statement, it's 12 years old, 46% peated and rum cask. In a way, I'm a little bit surprised that I didn't pick up on any rum notes in there. But rum is obviously a very diverse spirit, and we don't know what rum they've used, because they haven't told us, as far as I can see. But rum, as I've said before, I do think that out of all the spirits, it's the one that sort of merges in best with bourbon casks. I think that a lot of rum, a rum cask, or at least some rum casks, are the closest thing that you can get to a bourbon cask. I think that they are, even to some extent, less intrusive than virgin oak, definitely less of a forceful influence on the spirit than sherry or port or wine. So in a way I'm disappointed that I didn't pick up the rum, although now I know I can smell it. But in a way it is something that tends to be more seamless than most when it comes to cask types. Now that I know that rum cask's there, I can see that the pineapple and the mango and the tin fruit and syrup notes, that's obviously what I was smelling. I've got no idea what rum casks they used for this, but it does smell a little bit Barbadian. Possibly. It's a guess. It's a sweet and inoffensive, but also good quality rum note that I'm getting. Not a whole lot of peat though. The peat is really a background flavour, a background note. So let's see how much this is going to cost us. And I'd also be interested to see what the ppm is on this as well. If they tell us what the ppm in the malt is. Because I expect it's probably quite low. I'd be surprised if it's not. Bòcan. That may actually not be exactly how you pronounce it, but I don't really care. Pronunciation is overrated. So it's on Whisky Exchange. It's nice that I'm kind of going to a website that's not Master of Malt for once. So Bòcan, this one is 12-year-old. Is this batch 1? It is batch 1. So this stuff, 46%, £63. I would probably pay that for this. It looks like that. Kind of your standard Bòcan bottle design. Lovely colour. I'm assuming that's a natural colour. It does say natural colour. It says Caribbean rum casks, which again doesn't really tell us anything at all. They say that the flavours they get is grilled pineapple, ginger and white chocolate. Definitely got pineapple. And it does say rum casks from Guyana and Barbados. Doesn't say what the ppm is. I wonder if the Tomatin website tells you. It must do. That'd be a daft thing not to tell people, wouldn't it? No, doesn't seem to say. Strange and a little bit disappointing, but I would guess this is like maybe 15 ppm, like a little bit more than lightly peated. I think that if it was like a 30-35 ppm or more, that probably would have been my number one on the leaderboard. Still, can't complain too much. Fantastic whiskey. Another great dram on day number 9. Thanks for joining me, Dram fans. See you tomorrow. Cheers.